And once our daycare bill became the same amount as our mortgage, that's when things just unraveled for us. And I started looking for answers. Of course, when you're looking for answers, you go to Google, and the first thing I saw was bankruptcy. And so I thought that was the answer to my problems. And we filed for Chapter 13 bankruptcy. And I'm like, okay, good. We get a fresh start because that's what they sell you. Like, you're going to have this fresh start. And I found that we were still living the same way. The only difference was creditors couldn't call us anymore. And I was still stressed. I was still worried. I was still just, I don't know. It was just like I couldn't even sleep at night worrying about money.
Welcome to the Joyful Money Podcast. This is the place for ambitious entrepreneurs who want to make a huge impact and build a life of wealth and abundance without the stress and overwhelm. I am your host, Joy Rowland, and here you'll learn how to make money the joyful way. Why the joyful way? Well, because joy is infectious. Joy exudes confidence. Joy is attractive. Joy is sexy. And joy attracts abundance. Your journey to limitless abundance starts right now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Joyful Money Podcast. Today, I am very excited, like I always say, but today I'm super excited. The reason I'm excited is because we have a very special guest. My special guest is Germaine Foley. I am so grateful that she's on this podcast today because she has inspired me a lot and she inspires many women. And I want you to hear from the horse's mouth. So I'm excited for you to gain some wisdom and some nuggets to take your finances to the next level. So welcome to the show, Germaine.
Thank you, Joy, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. So why don't you start by introducing yourself and telling us what you do?
Yes, so my name is Germaine Foley. I am a life and money coach, and I help women who make good money but aren't building wealth. It's my specialty. It's what I love to do because I was her. I was someone who was doing well in my career. My husband was doing well in his career, but we were living check to check. We always wondered where our money was going, and we were in a ton of debt. And once I figured out that, oh, you know what, there's a secret to how to, make good money and build wealth. Once I figured that out, I knew I had to tell everyone else.
Oh gosh. I cannot wait for everyone to hear this secret, like your secret to building wealth and living a good life, which is what you teach. Because many women, like you say, make good money, but at the end of the month, they're like, where did all the money go? So I want us to like peel back the layer and tell us what's the secret to earning good money and still living a good life.
Yeah, so first of all, you just have to have the awareness that it's possible. So there's a study that was done by Fidelity Investments. Many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with Fidelity. You may have accounts with them. They did a money mindset study, and it found that 70 some percent of their surveyors, the people who they surveyed, I should say, believed they wanted to build wealth, but they believed that they would have to give up the things they love in order to do so. And I think that thought right there, that I can't build wealth without giving up the things I love. I'm going to have to sacrifice, and I'm going to have to go on a strict budget. I'm going to have to give up everything I love in order to do this. I think that mindset keeps so many women stuck. And so they live in extremes of, I'm just going to enjoy my life and I'll think about my money later, or they, try to white knuckle it and go on a strict budget and cut out all the joy in their lives. And unfortunately, that gets old really quickly, and people usually burn out and then they just give up, right? And so I help them to come to the realization that you can actually do both. You can build wealth and enjoy life at the same time. And so just starting with that intention, like that possibility, like, oh, I can build wealth and get out of debt. I can build wealth and save. I can build wealth and go on vacations and do the things that I really enjoy doing. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much, especially when you talk about the money mindset. For me,
Mm-hmm.
like people listen to this podcast, most people know my story, but the one I struggled with the most was because I grew up in lack and my parents struggled. As I started earning my own money, I felt like I needed to make up for lost time. Like doesn't make sense, but it was when I delved in deep into my own money mindset. I found out that I was spending to almost like fill a void in my childhood. So, do you have experience with your clients who have similar experiences?
Oh, yes. So I have one person that I worked with in the past, and that's exactly what she said. She said, I grew up poor and I made a vow to myself that I would never, ever, ever tell myself no. So whatever I want, I buy. And so it's like they're trying to fill this void that cannot be filled with material things. An internal void can never be filled with material things. And so, but if you're trying to do that, then no wonder you make good money but aren't building wealth, because it's impossible. And I always say it doesn't matter how much money you make. If you are trying to make yourself happy by spending, if you're trying to make yourself worthy by spending, if you're trying to do all these things that are internal with external things, it's never going to work. And so you're going to run out of money. And so
Oh,
that's
wow.
the truth.
Yeah, that's the truth. So tell us about your own journey. How did you choose this niche for yourself? How did you evolve into this amazing, beautiful, successful woman that you are now? The reason I ask that is because many people might be stuck in a phase in their lives where they're like, I know where I want to go, but there's just this thing that's keeping me stuck. I don't know how to break free to reach my potential in life. So tell us about your journey. How did that evolve for you?
Yes, I'll give you the shortened version. So I kind of alluded to this. My husband and I, we made really good money right out of college when we first got married. And we were living life. We were doing all the things, buying all the things, traveling, doing everything. And then once we had kids, that's where, the rubber hit the road. And we found out that, we make good money, but we haven't been doing well with it. We haven't been making good choices. And once our daycare bill became the same amount as our mortgage, that's when things just unraveled for us, and I started looking for answers. Of course, when you're looking for answers, you go to Google, and the first thing I saw was bankruptcy. And so I thought that was the answer to my problems. And we filed for Chapter 13 bankruptcy. And I'm like, okay, good. We get a fresh start, because that's what they sell you. Like, you're going to have this fresh start. And I found that we were still living the same way. The only difference was creditors couldn't call us anymore. And I was still stressed. I was still worried. I was still just I
Hmm.
don't know. It was just like I couldn't even sleep at night worrying about money all the time, even though we made good money. That's the kicker. Um, and one of the things I know that I thought was like, I don't want to do it the way that all the personal finance gurus tell me I need to do it, right? Cut everything out, eat rice and beans, don't go on vacations, don't do any of that stuff. I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But once bankruptcy didn't work, I'm like, well, I guess that's the only other way. And so I, devoured books, and I, said, okay, fine, I'll do it. I'll go on a strict budget. I'll give up everything I love. And I took that idea to my husband, and he was just like, who are you? And what did you do with my wife? And he said, listen, I agree. We got to figure something out, but we can't do it this way. And that's when the light bulb moment went off. I'm like, yeah, why do we have to do it this way? Why do we have to do it the way all the other people say we have to do it? Why can't we figure out our own way? And I said at that moment, I'm going to figure out how we can build wealth and still enjoy our lives. I'm going to figure out how we can build wealth and vacation every year, or maybe twice a year, because my husband worked a really demanding job, and he's like, I need a vacation. We can't not do that. We also wanted our children to participate in some extracurricular activities, and that costs money. So we had to get clear on what it meant for us to enjoy our lives. And I was like, okay, we're going to get out of this debt. We had $200,000 worth of debt. We're going to get out of this debt, and we're still going to do the things that matter most to us. And once I figured it out, I knew I had to tell the world. And there was a moment where I was just so proud, like, oh, we did it. We were out of debt and we're living this life, and I figured it out. And literally, I felt in my spirit and my soul God saying, I did not just do this for you. I did it so that you can help other women. And so I was like, okay,
Hmm.
now it makes sense. And then a purpose, just like, I knew I had to do it. And it took me a while to figure it out and to get going and to believe that I could, help others. But here I am today.
Oh gosh, that's such an inspiring story. Thank you for sharing. So then how did you bring your husband along? I know you said at the beginning he said he didn't want it to be in the strict and rigid way. But when it came down to implementation day to day, how did you bring him along?
Yes, that was key, right? And so it was literally sitting down together and deciding what was important to us, what was like non-negotiables. We knew we wanted to travel. We knew we wanted our kids to experience extracurricular activities. He wanted to have freedom and have money in his pocket to spend, and so did I. So it was just a lot of like sitting down and communicating and making sure that we both were in line with what was most important to us, and then painting the future vision too. Like, okay, this is important today, but let's dream about the future. Like, what are our goals? And if we want to, send our kids to college debt free, if we want to build our dream home, if we want to do all of those things, then we have to start taking action today that's aligned with that. So we had to kind of like, do what was good for us in the moment and in the future.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that so much. So then, Germaine, for many people, money is a very sensitive topic. It's almost like opening up a can of worms. People don't just want to look, right? They want to just pretend like there is no problem, right? So how do you help people to get past that phase of, oh my gosh, I don't want to look because I know what I'm going to see, right? How do you
Yes.
help your clients to move past that phase?
Yeah, so I help them to understand the reason why they don't want to see it. The
Mm,
reason why they don't want to see it is because how they're going to treat themselves, how they're going to talk to themselves once they see what they've done, what the past behaviors have been. And so I offer a process where you become a scientist. You just get really curious. So when you do look, it's just gathering data. We're doing it without judging. We're doing it just to get a baseline for where we are because we know from there we're going up, right? But we
mm,
can't go somewhere unless we know where we're starting. Kind of like, if you want to go to California and you're in New York and you're using a GPS, the GPS needs to know where you're starting from. It needs to know that you're in New York so that it can take you to California. So I tried to give them a different frame on it. And so they go in prepared to not beat themselves up. They go in knowing that it's just curiosity, it's just data, no judgment. And then once they're looking, they don't feel bad. Like they don't feel the shame, they don't feel the guilt, they don't feel the remorse because it's like, I'm just getting curious so that I can get my baseline and move on. So
mm.
that's one of the reasons. That's one of the things I teach to help them to, get over the avoidance mentality that a lot of us have.
Oh wow, I love that so much. So it's sounding like you create a safe and I want to say a place where people can be vulnerable and just come to learn to love themselves. It sounds like that's the kind of container you are creating for your clients, which I love so much. And you're also the host of an amazing podcast called the Wealthy Woman's Podcast. Can you tell us more about your podcast?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So we just recorded or released our 100th episode. So I'm so excited about that. And yeah, it's a podcast where I don't hold back. I give so much value. I just want people to get results. And some of my clients, my current clients are like, Jermaine, oh my gosh, I got so much results from your podcast. I knew I had to work with you and get even more. And then others are like, this is all I need. I just need the podcast, right? But I do caution people if they are listening to your podcast, my podcast, or anybody's podcast, that it's easy sometimes to just consume information and not implement. And if you find yourself in that boat, just question that and question, like, okay, why is that? Because you want to not just listen to podcasts, not just listen to Joy's podcast or my podcast, but to actually put into practice the things you're learning so that you can change your life. And so that's what I do as a coach. I help you go from just consuming the information to actually implementing the information and changing your life.
Oh, I love that so much. Another thing I want to touch on with you is like the essence of this podcast, which is joyful money. We want to here I preach that you can make money the joyful way, and I think you embody that. So I want to ask, how have you been able to weave in your your business with being an excellent wife, being an excellent mom. I see all your pictures on Facebook, how you show up for your husband, how you show up for your kids. How have you been able to do that and still run a successful business?
Yeah, and not only that, Joy, I actually have a full-time job too.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
But
No,
this is what you do in time.
this is what I do as well, but yes, I have a full-time job that I absolutely love, that I absolutely love.
Good
And
for you.
yes, 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 yes. So I kind of compartmentalize things. So when I am working my full-time job, that is what I'm doing. And when I'm coaching, I'm coaching. So,
Mm,
and then I even have to think about like even my husband and my kids. My kids are older now, by the way. I have one in college, is a junior in high school. So they are like doing their thing, they drive. So that is one of the ways I'm able to do it because I do have more free time. Now, if this was 10 years ago, it'd be a lot different because I would be, the taxi driver. And then as far as my relationship goes, I'm just very intentional about that too. Like, I try to cut things off at a certain time and, certain days I'm like, okay, this is our day. And I just try to be present wherever I am in the moment. I don't necessarily try to go for balance because I think balance is something that you get sometimes. It's not something that you can always get, especially if you're, in the thick of something in your business or in your career or life just needs your focus somewhere else. So, like I said, I compartmentalize. I try to be as intentional as possible to everything that's important to me in my life, my business, my career, and my family.
oh gosh, I love that so much. So then I can't believe we're almost at time because I love talking to you, Germaine. But before I let you go, I'm going to ask you to tell the viewers and listeners how to work with you, how to take the next steps. But before then, I want you to give us three things we can do right now to start taking charge of our money. So somebody's listening right now, they make good money, but they struggle to live a good life. So can you give us three things they can start doing today to change their trajectory?
Yes, the first thing is just to have that mindset shift that I offered earlier. My do both method, I call it the do both method. Just believe and adopt the mentality that you can build wealth and still enjoy your life. I think
Mm,
that in itself will just free you to pursue getting your finances under control because you know that you're not about to put yourself on this restrictive budget where you can't buy a latte, you can't go on vacation, and can't go shopping, right? We're not doing any of that in my camp. I truly believe that you can enjoy your life and still get your finances under control. So, like, adopt the do both mindset. I think that will open you up to the possibilities. The other thing would be to listen to the Wealthy Woman's podcast because, like I said, there's our 100 episodes that you can binge right now and get all sorts of ideas and inspirations and learn lots of tools and concepts that you can apply to your life. And then the third thing would be this is what I was going to tell people how they can connect with me. I have a free training, and the free training is called How to Build Wealth Without Going on a Strict Budget. And you can grab that at germainefoley.com/wealth class. And that's Germaine with a G. And I think if you do those three things, adapt the mindset that you can figure this out and still enjoy your life, right? And enjoying your life does not mean that you're going to spend on any and everything without intention. No, you're going to figure out what truly matters to you and learn how to use your money as a tool and not as a way to alter your emotional state.
mm.
And then, start listening to the podcast and take that free training. And I think you'll be well on your way.
Oh gosh. So listeners, I'm going to grab all of those links. The link will be in the show notes if you are listening on the podcast, and it will be in the description if you are watching on YouTube. So Germaine, how can people connect with you? Are you available on socials?
Yes. So, of course, we talked about the Wealthy Women's Podcast. We talked about the free training, and you can find me on Instagram at Germaine Foley Coaching, and you can follow me there.
Amazing. It's been such a joy having you on the podcast, Germaine. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss an update. Let's continue this journey of growth and success together. Don't forget to connect with me on social media for more tips and inspiration. And remember, your ambitions are valid, your potential is limitless, and you deserve a business that brings you both joy and fulfillment. Until next time, keep taking action, be joyful, and you will create success beyond your wildest dreams. Sending you lots of love, peace, joy, and light. Bye for now.